Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Our question for the day: would you want an AI judge? This is an interesting debate and discussion. There's definitely some pros, there's definitely some cons, and we're going to kind of dig into this because where did this show up? Well, where else would something like this show up but Estonia? Now, of course, I did a tinfoil hat time on Estonia and the coming of the smart cities. If you will remember that, I'll go ahead and put a link to that in the comments here, and I'll card it on the video here on YouTube. But Estonia, of course, they're rebranding e-estonia because they're basically trying to produce a social experiment where everything is technological based. They want to get government as slim as possible. They want to get everything into the AI infrastructure as quickly as possible. My ultimate question for this is, if everything is done with this AI, who actually, what do people do for jobs in this place? I mean, at some point in time, we have to set down our lattes and go to work. And what do you do if everything that you do is taken over by these guys? Now, the advantage, of course, is, we don't have to deal with bumbling buffoons quite as often. But another fun factor of this is who actually has access to this information and how easy is it to manipulate. And I have some serious concerns about this system. Of course, you get in there, everything is all on digital ID cards, your taxes all are filed. There's a lot of things about this system that works really, 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 really well. But we also have to remember that Estonia has a population of 1.3 million. So, that's only slightly larger than my city here. So, can my city run effectively as a country with what we got? Probably. Can that scale up to some massive, huge other cities? Probably not. And so these are questions that we have as we're considering AI judges. But they want to look at e-identity, interoperability services, security, safety, healthcare, education, business, and finance. Basically, they want to look into everything. And there's definitely parts of this that are certainly intriguing, but definitely parts of this that do cause me a little bit of concern. And I am keeping an eye on this system. But what happened is this article came out from Ars Technica. And in this article, Estonia is starting to look at AI judges. Now, it's important to start at the beginning of this that in the EU, which Estonia is part of, any decisions made by an AI device, the people involved have the right to ask a human to review the case. So that's the type of thing that would happen. So there's a lot of cases that are fairly simple, straightforward, fact-based cases, which would probably work out very well. Ultimately, these cases, there's very little back and forth. There's very little determining who's telling truth and who's lying. Contract disputes where what does the contract actually say? Was the contract fulfilled? These types of things can certainly be filled out by an AI type system, as long as there's a human looking over the thing's shoulder. And that's one of those concerns, is that anywhere AI starts to be implemented, humans stop looking over the shoulder eventually. It's kind of like running an automated backup. The reason I never run automated backups is you set them, you forget them, and when it stops working, you don't realize it until there's a system crash. You go back to look at your backups and realize you don't have one. Well, when that happens in the intersection of people's lives, when fines, when jail time, when conflict is present, we don't want an AI to set it and forget it. We really have to make sure that we are objective in what we're doing. And so this is that principle where an AI judge might have parts that are really good, might have parts that are really bad. And so it's one of these things to keep in mind. So, of course, Estonia is, they're putting everything into the system. They're saying here they want the government to be as lean as possible. And by the way, this is a fascinating thing to me, that a person taking a look at implementing all these things as a 28-year-old grad student. I've been a 28-year-old grad student before. Let's see, was I? Yeah, I think I graduated at 28. I was a 28-year-old grad student at one point in time. Let me tell you something about 28-year-old grad students. They're not as smart as they think they are. And oftentimes they get so caught up in their projects, they don't see the concern coming from other places. And so this could potentially be a case that we're working so hard to see if we can do it, we never stop to ask, should we do it? And so this is an interesting perspective. But again, 1.3 million citizens is not a lot of people. So if the social experiment goes crazy and kills each other, I just hope it's isolated like in Jurassic World. But of course, we know how that movie ended. The dinosaurs got off the island and the AI will as well. So we got to think about that. But, you know, if the AI goes crazy and convicts everybody to jail and to a death sentence, then the AI will start in Estonia. That is where Skynet's housed. No. So there's definitely some positive, definitely some negatives. They want government to be as lean as possible. This is very good because it keeps the government costs very low. That is a good thing. Now, does that mean lower taxes? I don't know. I hope so. And if the final ending result is a great decrease of taxes, that is actually a good thing. So the challenge is what percentage of people work for the government. And now if AI is going to replace those jobs, now what do those people do? Especially since in Estonia, they want to do a lot to make sure a lot of different jobs are released. So also in this article, they talk about, they have another thing where if you are in a getting a subsidy, it's the clauses down here in the article. The algorithm assesses. Okay, let me explain it before we get into this. So there's some people that are paid a subsidy, a farming subsidy, to make sure the fields are cleared so that basically forests don't crop up. So instead of sending inspectors out to verify fields are cut, they're instead grabbing satellite photos and satellite data and taking this satellite data and analyzing it pixel for pixel and determining from that, is the field mowed or not? Now, there's some instances where the AI can't tell, and so it pushes it to a real person, and then the real person has to drive out and inspect the field to verify. The farmers will get a text if their field is in dispute, and so maybe they could clear up the question or the dispute, or maybe at least they are aware an inspector's coming. So if legitimately it's not plowed yet, that's kind of their warning. Hey, Bobby, get up there and plow back field back there, man, because the inspector might be showing up. All right. So this accordingly saved almost $1 million doing this type of thing. But now it raises the question, what did those inspectors who are now not working, what are they doing for an income? So if you're replacing every single facet of society, then we all just get to live in cheers, right? We go to the bar, we sip our lattes. But then the question becomes, what do we do to pay our bills? What do we do to live our life? What do we do to become independent members and contributing to society? Because people who sit on bar stools drinking beer and lattes don't actually contribute a lot to society. And so this is a good question. Does it free us up for creative arts? Well, the creative arts aren't the solution to everything. They definitely have a very good and very important value in society, and we need the creative artists, but we need other people in there as well. Ooh, are they going to go off and do the tech research? Well, at some point in time, and that's one of the things in the Estonia stuff, is they said, hey, everybody here, Estonia has a much greater percentage of people going into IT than anywhere else in the world. Well, all that means is you're going to have more IT trained baristas because the job market's saturated in that field. And so these are some of these things that we have to think about as we're jumping back and forth between these different things. Basically, they're setting up all the different things the government does. Another one, which I find somewhat terrifying, is when a child is born in Estonia, the records from the hospital go straight to the school, so your child is already enrolled in school. I don't know. I want the choice what school the child goes to. I want to get a chance to go around to different schools. At least here in our town, we have several different little charter schools, and there's public funds set aside that if a parent wants their child to go to one of the charter schools instead of the public school, there's funds to help pay for that. Which is a really good program. I like it because it gives the parents the choice where their child goes to school rather than just saying, oh, you're born in this region, so you go to this school. You may not like something about that school, and we have more choices and options, and I'm curious about that. And so, yeah, that saves the paperwork and going to the schools and all this. Well, what else are you going to do with your time? Your job's been taken out. You're just sipping lattes somewhere because all your job's been replaced. So, you got everything but time, So, all of this boils down to looking at what is the impetus of AI in the legal system. Now, already there's some AI things. There's actually a company that it's also in here somewhere. I remember reading about this a while back. I'll have to find it. But there's a company in they deployed their service in New York and in London, and basically it is an AI traffic ticket thing. If you get a parking ticket thing. So if you get a parking ticket, you scan your parking ticket and other pertinent information into the device, and the AI thing will look for loopholes in the law and spit you out a defense that will pass and will get you off of your ticket. So you might pay them to not have to pay the parking ticket. So police got noise of this and went back to the same company and asked them to create an AI to reverse the situation. So it just kind of becomes a bunch of AI machines battling each other over parking tickets that probably cost, $1 anyway. So you get one of these things. And so that type of thing. And then what they're talking about is one of the deepest concerns of this is that when you go off to law school and you become a lawyer, and when you are becoming a lawyer, you start working at a big firm, and then you're kind of this underling, this gopher that's researching the cases, and you're spending all the time, you're putting in the long hours, and they're separating the wheat from the chaff, is a great analogy the article here uses. And they're talking about separating the wheat from the chaff, because that's how you demonstrate yourself as a new lawyer to your law firm. That's how you move up. That's how you get higher and better positions. That's how you become a partner in a firm. Well, what they're talking about is having AI to do all of those types of services. Well, if AI is doing all those types of services, how do these new young lawyers fresh out of law school gain the experience that they need to get out into the world and show themselves that they know and learn themselves? Because I got news for you. I mean, I taught before as a teacher. You think you know the subject. I mean, I taught freshman chemistry. And after 10 years of upper level grad school work, I still didn't understand basic chemistry as well as I did at the end of the first year of teaching, because it really teaches you all those fine arts really, 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 really well. All right. And then, of course, you get into it, you're a couple years in, you know all the arguments, you know the stumbling blocks of the students, you know how to present things a little bit better, you work yourself out. Well, if there's AI that takes care of all these little things, we will have, in a generation from now, we're going to have an entire generation of imbecilic lawyers who know nothing about law because the AI has taken all of their research. And so that's a deep concern about this type of stuff. Same thing, with really any field that requires any level of research. Oh, we'll just pawn off the low level research on the AI guy. Well, you are then depriving a new lawyer of a job, of the opportunity to learn, of the hard research, the things that will make him grow into a good and experienced lawyer. And so these are one of those issues. So now with the AI judge can have a look at these different things and replace a judge for your simpler cases. Now, this is where this is good, because how many cases are sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting to go to trial because there's 16 frivolous or easy to decide things that you just have to do the procedural. All right, next docket, call in the docket, call in this. Let me see the evidence. Let me see your testimony. Let me see this. Let me see that. You waste days after days after days on this little type of stuff that really doesn't mean a lot in the long run anyway. That are so easy to decide. Well, if you hand off those small, simple cases to the AI, and then you got, maybe you hand off about 500 cases to those, and then the AI spits the thing out, and then you have a panel of 3 judges who read the AI, and if 2 out of 3 of them agree, then let's run with it. That would be a good thing to keep the jobs and run the things through, and then the more difficult cases get sent to the judge. That's a case where this could be a very good thing that actually allows for part of here in the United States, we have a constitutional right to a speedy trial. And so if we are being charged for something, we have to get that trial in and out as soon as possible. The problem is there's so many simple cases that take up the time that people sit in holding cells longer than they possibly should for something a judge would easily look at and decide simply. This would be a way to free up the time for the easy cases, so that the real judges can do the deciding factors over the hard cases. So there's an argument for this that's very good. We got to figure out how to get the different job fields together to work in unison with one another. That's ultimately the point. So do you want an AI judge? I would say it kind of depends on the case. If there's a clear-cut case, I don't want to be waiting around for 5 years to wait for some judge to rule on the thing because he's got 16 cases. I'd rather the stuff go right through the system. But man, if I'm being accused of some crazy crime and I know I didn't do it, I really don't want AI to sift through that. I'd really like a human there to be involved a little bit more. So those are my thoughts on AI judges. What are your thoughts? What are the things you resonated with the most in this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. You can help support the channel by having a look at the links up right above me if you want to get something like this cool Switched Linux hoodie, or this is my Switched Linux coffee cup. You can check those out, shop.switchedtolinux.com. Also have a look at the social media sites if you want to follow along and get more updates on what's going on. So thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.